שיר בגמרא, פרק השואל לספורו, דף צדיק ווב, עמוד א', two lines from the top of the wide lines. The word is Shoal Me'oisho. We are continuing the questions of Romi Barchome and some other questions that the Gemara is going to say, and we're going to learn also two Tosfos, Shoal Me'oisho and Shliach Plukta de Rabbi Yonason. So the Gemara asks a whole bunch of questions. Now the Gemara continues. Shoal Me'oisho. Before we're going to read and explain the Gemara, we're going to say an introduction. There is a concept called Nichsei Milug. Nichsei Milug means any properties, any stuff that a woman brings into her marriage that belongs to her. Chachamim made a takana that the husband is able, the stuff, the properties belongs to her, but the husband is able to use it for just to make the house function, and he benefits out of the fruits. When it say he benefits, it means he and the entire family. Don't think he's just going to take and hide the fruits and think it's for the whole house. So it's a benefit for the whole house. Okay. Shoal me'oisho. A person borrowed from the wife a cow that belongs to her nichsei milug. Now, so the isho is the mashil. She's the owner. Venishal bailo. And her husband was borrowed for the shoel to do his work. So the actual mashil is not doing ba'al of imoy, but the husband who benefits, he has the peros, he gets the benefit out of the nichsei milug, he is the ba'al of imoy. Another question, isho sheshalo, the opposite, a woman that borrowed a cow from someone, Venishal labal, and the mashil now is working for the husband. Now, the woman borrowed a cow to plow a field on nichsei milug, and the mashil is working for the husband randomly in any other places, not in the nichsei milug. Now, what will be the din? Now, in order to explain the two sides of the question, comes out that the owner of the nichsei milug is the wife, but the husband gets the benefit out of it. And the Gemara calls it the benefit of the fruits. The question is, if you own the benefits of the product, the fruits of the item, is that makes you an owner to be enough to be ba'al of imoy or not? Let's read the Rashi. Shoal me'oisho. Poro shenichsei milug, a cow from nichsei milug. Venishaloi bailo, and the husband was borrowed for what? Lemelachto, to do his work. Isha sheshalo, lachrosh karka milug, to plow a field that belongs to her. Venishalo abalim labalim lechasatzmoi, and the mashil was borrowed to the husband to do any of his work. Back to the Gemara. And here is the two questions. Kinyan peiros ke kinyan aguf domi, is the fact that the husband owns the fruit, does it make it like he owns the item itself? Therefore, it's be'ol of imoy, because it's considered the owner. Or the fact that he owns the fruit doesn't make him the owner of the item, and therefore, it's not be'ol of imoy. Rashi, kinyan peiros, she'abal oichel peiros milug. The fact that the husband eating the fruit of the nichsei milug is that kekinyan aguf dam, is considered like he owns the item, and therefore ve'avele be'alim, and the owner is considered shoel venishal. We have a shoel and a mashil. Ki'ilu karka uporo sheloi, like the cow, and the cow belongs to him, like to the husband. So it could be he's a shoel. Therefore, when the guy works for him, he's ba'al of imoy. Or could be he's the mashil, and when he works for the shoel, it's ba'al of imoy. Back to the Gemara. Omar leRavina leRavashi. Another question. Now Romi Bachom is not asking this question. That's a different person, a different Amoira. Oimer leShluchoi. If Reuven says to his messenger, "Tsei veishoili im porosi," go be borrowed with my cow, Mao. What does that mean? Reuven says to his messenger, Shimon wants to borrow my cow, and he also wants me to do some work for him. I don't have time. I want you to do it. That means that it was ba'al of imoy, but not the owner. The messenger did the ba'al of imoy. So the question is, again, ba'al of mamish beina. Do we need that the owner himself should do the ba'al of imoy and veleke, and over here it's just the messenger, the shliach did it. Or dilmei, no, shluchai shel adam kemoisei veika. Or do we say that it's shluchai shel adam is just like him? So what's the difference? So it's still ba'al of imay. Or malay, now we're going to have answers. Or malay ravache barei de raviv yel ravashi, baal. The question regarding if the husband is ba'al of imay or not, pluk to the Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish, is an argument between Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish. Shliach, the question if shluchai shel adam kemoisei regarding ba'al of imay or not, pluk to the Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yoshe, it's a machlokes between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yoshe. The Gemara explains. Baal pluk to the Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish, the itmar. We all know we have to give a little introduction. There is the mitzvah of bikurim. You in Eretz Yisrael, you bring from the first fruits that the land gives to you, and you take it to Yerushalayim. And when you bring it to Yerushalayim, you have to bring a whole parsha. The highlight of the parsha is what's important to us, that you say those words. Ine evesi es reishis priya adoma asher nosatuli. Here I brought the first of the fruit of the land that you gave to me. The words, the land that you gave to me. Now we're going to read inside. Somebody sold his field to his friends in order that his friends should benefit out of the fruits. He didn't sell them the actual field, just for the benefiting of the fruits. Rabbi Yochanan Noimer, maybe he brings bikurim vekoire, and he can also read the parsha in the Beis Hamikdash. Reish Lakish Oimer, maybe ve'enekoire, he brings anybody cannot say the parsha, and the Gemara explains. Rabbi Yochanan Noimer, maybe vekoire. Why? Kinyan Peiros, the fact that the guy owns the fruits itself, kekinyan aguvdami, it's like he owns the item, the actually field, and therefore he can say that I brought fruit from the land that it was giving to me. Why? Kinyan Peiros, love kekinyan aguvdami. Kinyan Peiros is not considered like you own the item itself, therefore he cannot say this is my land, but he can just bring bikurim. Rashi. Amoicher sodeyu lepeiros, says Rashi, sheyochal loikech peiroiseo beis v'gimel shonim, that the buyer will benefiting out of the fruits 2 or 3 years, v'achar zman, and after that time, tachzor lebalim, it goes back to the original owner. So maybe bikurim, he is allowed to bring bikurim, v'koire is allowed to read the parsha of Arami Oivedovi. The parsha starts with the word Arami, that Lovan Arami wanted to destroy my father Yaakov. V'chol parsha, and the rest of the parsha, whatever it says in Chumash Dvorim. V'koir ani boy, it's counted on him that he can say, Ina evesis reishis pri adamo, asher nosatoli. He can say the words asher nosatoli. Why? The kinyan peiros ki kinyan aguf. Back to the Gemara. Now, I believe Ravache says to Ravashi. So now that we know that the question regarding kinyan peiros or kinyan aguf dami Allah is a machlokes of Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish. Now, since the halacha is like Rish Lakish, that halacha is that kinyan peiros is not like a kinyan aguf, therefore the fact that the husband owns the fruit of the field, the nichse miluk, it doesn't make him a be'ol of imoy. That's solved that problem. Now we're going back to the next question. Shliach plucked the Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yoshe. The Tanya will learn in a brayse. Oimel apotropos. Now another introduction before we're going to read this. The halacha is that when a wife makes a promise, a nether, the husband is able to nullify the nether, break off the nether, and the day that he heard that she made a promise. He has a whole day to do that. B'yoyim shomoy. Now here is the story about a husband who goes away on a business trip, and he's afraid that his wife will make promises, and obviously he doesn't know yet the halacha completely, and he's afraid that his wife will make promises that he's going to have to fulfill because he's the one who takes care of the house, and he doesn't know that he can break it off on the day that he heard it. So he made a shliach to do it for him, to break it off, and the day that he came from the business trip, he didn't nullify their promises. The question is that what the shliach did, is it considered or not? So the Tanya will learn in a brayse. Somebody says to a manager, the guy who runs his properties, all the promises that my wife will make, mikan, Ad she'ova mimokem ploni. From now till I come back from this and this place. Offer lo, please nullify, break it apart, make it void. Ve'efilo, and the shlech did. Now the husband, when he came back, he did not do it, and he heard all the promises. She told him all the promises she made, and he did not nullify it. So yochoy liyumu for him. I would think that what the shliach did is valid. Talmud loimar. That's why it says in the pasuk, Isha yekimenu veisha yefirenu. Only the husband can make the promises work, and only the husband can break away the promises. Divrei Rabbi Yeshua, that's what Rabbi Yeshua holds. Rabbi Yonasan loimar, no. What the shliach did, it was perfect. Motzinu b'chol mokem sheshluchoi shel adam kemoisoi. We see in all the places that the shluchoi shel adam kemoisoi, and therefore you could break it. Now, how's it helping us to our question regarding Ba'al of Imoy or not? Because since the halach is like Rabbi Yeshua, therefore shliach is not applying. Now we're going to read the two Tosfos, and then we continue to the last question. 1 second, we're going to read the Rashi. L'apotropos, oy lech lemedina sayom. A guy who was going overseas, umino apotrop al nechosov, and he appointed a manager on his properties, Loz and Ishaybonov, to feed, to sustain, to take care of his wife and his kids. Now we're going back to the Tosfos Shoal Mino Isho. Now Tosfos says an issue over here when somebody borrows a nichsei miluk from his wife. Tosfos has a problem. How can somebody borrow something from the wife? Why? Because the item was given to the husband to benefit, and now the wife is giving it to somebody else. How does she have the power? Shoal Mino Isho Teime. Tosfos is wondering. What power does a woman have to give out, to lend out the nichse miluk? Why? Shaperes lebal. The fruits comes to the husband, the husband benefits from it. Now, Tosfos points out, the husband could to lend it out without asking her. So therefore, Tosfos is asking, why does it say that he borrowed from a woman? She had no power to rent it, to lend it out to anybody else. So Tosfos answers two answers. You happen to be right. The husband cannot give it out or sell anything that belongs to her. So the husband cannot do it without permission from her. So what does that mean? Obviously, Shoal Mino Isha, according to that comes out that he borrowed from the husband something that a woman gave him permission. Another answer, Inami Ochikomar, and according to the second answer, Tosfos says that a husband does have a power to lend it out. Ochikomar, the meaning of Shoal Mino Isha, meaning it was not from the Isha, he asked Rishus, Shoal Mino Ish Nichse Miluk Shem Shel Isha. The question was, he borrowed it from the husband, but it belongs to the wife. So when it says Shoal Mino Isha, it didn't mean he borrowed it from the wife because she has no koyach to do it. He borrowed it from the husband that he asked his wife permission. Now we're going to go to the Tosfos Shliach Pluk to the Rabbi Yonasan Rabbi Yeshua Detanya. Tosfos is asking a question. How do we compare the story of nullifying promises to Ba'al of Imoy? How do we compare the case of Ba'al of Imoy to promises? Why? Rabbi Yeshua doesn't disagree in all the times that Shlucha Shel Adam Kemoisei. Only by Nedarim he disagrees. Why? Because he has a special learning. Because it says, the pasuk says, Isha Yakimenu. He has a pasuk that only the husband and nobody else. So therefore, the Baham Eloi Pligi, usually he doesn't disagree that Shlucha Shel Adam Kemoisei. So why is the Gemara compare the story of Ba'al of Imoy to the story of Nedarim? By Nedarim you have a special learning, a special limud, and by Ba'al of Imoy you don't. And for Tosfos, the time of the Rabbi Yeshua also, the reason of Rabbi Yeshua over there, that only the husband can do it and not anybody else, not a shliach, Mishum Deksiv Trei Zimni, because it says twice, Isha, the word husband, Isho yakimenu ve'isha yefirenu. Only the husband can make the nedorim stay, and only the husband can break the nedorim. Lemeutu ishluchoi. Why does it say twice? To take away, the lashliach can do it. V'ochinami, and the same thing. Ksiv be'olav trei zimni. But over here, by be'olav imoy, it says twice. Be'olav imoy and be'olav ein imoy. So it's a be'olav twice. So to take out, the lashliach cannot do it. That's one way. Inami, without saying it twice, be'olav imoy is also the Torah stresses out by a husband and by be'olav imoy by a shoulder. As the Torah stresses it out that only him and not the shliach. Where? Mishum de loshem be'olav in ishus. Because the expression of the word be'olav and the word isha, mashma lehu dafka v'lo shlucha. The Gemara, the Torah stresses it out that only he can do it and not a shliach. So therefore, we're learning out for only in those two places that we exclude the shliach. Back to the Gemara. The last question of the Gemara. O male Rav Ilish lerove. Rav Ilish asked Rove another story. A guy who says to his servant, this time he told his servant, go and be borrowed with my cow. That means you're going to take my cow to Shimon, and you're also going to do some work for him. So you're going to be be'olav imo instead of him. Now, what will be the din? Is a slave considered be'olav imo instead of the owner or not? And the Gemara explains. The question will be, according to the opinion who says that a shliach is like a person himself, but it's still going to be a question regarding a slave. And it's still going to be a question. And it's still going to be a question, according to the opinion that shliach is not kemoisoi. What will be by a slave? Maybe by a slave it is kemoisoi. And the Gemara explains. The question will be according to the opinion that says that shluchoi shel Odom is kemoisoi. When do we say that it's kemoisoi by a shliach? Why by a shliach? The bar mitzvah. The bar mitzvah meaning not that he's bar mitzvah. The bar mitzvah means that he has a connection to the mitzvahs of mashil and shoel. He can lend, he can borrow. Aval eved the la bar mitzvah. Eved is not bar mitzvah, meaning he doesn't have the dinim of shoel or mashil because he doesn't have anything. So those dinim don't apply. Loi, so it's not kemoisoi. Or maybe afilu leman omar ein shluchoi shel Odom kemoisoi. Even according to the opinion that says that shluchoi shel Odom is not like him, anemi l'shliach. Only by a shliach it's not kemoisoi. For whatever reason that we learn out from the psukim. Aval eved, yad eved ki yad rabbi dame. A hand of a slave is like the hand of the owner. It's like a longer arm stretched. A slave is a little bit more than a kemoisoi, more than a shliach. And therefore, it will be be'olav imoy. Even according to the opinion it says that by a shliach is not. And for the Eliki Gemara Omar Lei, Mistabre makes sense, Yadevet ki Yad Rabbi Damye, according to everybody. Rashi. Eved de la bar mitzvah loi. Now, Rashi explains, how do we know that a shluchah shel Odom is kemoisoi? V'shlichus nafkelon. How do we know that shluchah shel Odom kemoisoi? We're learning it out. Me'atem, gamatem. It says in the Torah, gamatem regarding my tumas, that you can also give. Why does it say you can also? Why is it you can also? Why is it we need also? L'rabbi shluchachem, to add the shliach. Now we're learning from that out the be'inan that we need dumi the meshalech. We need that the shliach should be similar to the meshalech. What does it mean? Shiyu din of nagim boy. The similar dinim should be able to apply. V'zeh and in this slave and din shoel umashil lo egba. The din of the shoel umashil do not apply by a slave. Why? Shein lo klum beloy rabbi. He doesn't own anything. Everything belongs to his owner. And this is where we finished the shiur, the part number 2 of Rami Bar Chomes Shailas.